I wanted to dim the lights a little bit and get a little vibey.
You constantly reinvent yourself and reinvent yourself to stay relevant. Current sound.
I don't approach it in a way where I'm asking myself, how do I stay relevant? I just love all music. So I trust my inner creative kind of like feeling. And so I love J Dilla. I love boom bap. I love pop music. I love trap music. I love house music. You know what I mean? So that stuff kind of just comes out. I'm not searching for an answer. I'm more just like existing, kind of, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's total flow. Yeah, I would never make anything I didn't like. It's just all dependent on the individual. But I just so happen to love so many different types of music. It's full time, part time.
I'd say it's moving more towards full-time. You know,
Very
for
cool.
a long time I was doing it full-time, then I took that break.
Right now you sort of have a luxury of time where you're spending like a decent amount of hours per week, right, on like making beats and music. Be a little bit more clear, the instrumental route, kind of like, you know, what he was saying earlier, you know, the SoundCloud, DistroKid, kind of like instrumental stuff. If you have any interest working with artists. So, you know, a good start is to think about all those different things you can start to check off your list. So give yourself goals. You know, do the YouTube beat hustle, and then you can do Instagram DMs. A lot of transactions are happening on Instagram DM, you know, so you can do that. So while, you know, and I'm not saying you do this, but like, so instead of like watching Game of Thrones reruns for 5 hours, I'll use that to make 2 more beats. So that'll increase my monthly goal to 20. You have to be a lot more specific about what you're trying to accomplish. And once you start to do that and get used to doing that, then things really start to change. Clap it up. I wasn't really referring to like, you know, shopping to like Drake and like, yeah, totally. Yeah, whether you found them on SoundCloud, of someone you met at a studio that lives like in the next town over, you know, shit like that.
Making sure there wasn't something obvious that was missing.
Yeah, no, totally. But I'm glad you mentioned that, because I will say that there's been times where, you know, producers would just like DM Travis Scott or DM Future, be like, hey Future, I love your music, I have beats, here's a Dropbox link. It's worked in the past, you know? So always like something that you can do. I'm not like a super co-signer of that, because, you know, it's like if I were to tell you guys, go to Vegas and like bet it all on black. You know?
But yeah, I do have experience with working with like rappers and vocalists and stuff.
Good, yeah, you know, but ultimately you do what excites you. The idea of finding like a new artist to like kind of vibe with and click with is a really cool thing to explore, especially for a producer. But just keep doing your thing, man. Yeah, please.
It's actually for him.
Sure.
Were you recently on NPR? Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. See, it's already starting. It's already starting, and you're only 18. It's amazing. Are you the mom? Clap it up for mom in the building. I love that. That's so great.
As far as beat making in particular, there's 2 or 3 plugins that you've used for a long time.
Transient Master is, you guys have to start using that thing. It's amazing. I mean, there's so many like amazing plugins nowadays. To me, it's just how you use it. I use Omnisphere too. I'm a huge Contact 5 like hoarder, so like I have a bunch of Contact 5 plugins that I love using.
A couple months ago I found out I got a placement. This is independent, but is on the brink of probably getting signed. I've been following his journey, and then I started making beats, and then I sent him something, and pretty much he sauced it up, and then a couple months later I find out that Lil already, you know, rapped on it. Like I have the song.
How would you navigate
that? Like she doesn't have, you know, like a record deal.
Yeah, artists right before they blow up, and then nurture a relationship, a working relationship with that person. Call your boy and be like, yeah, I mean, when's the next time you guys are in the studio? You know, we'll be in, you know, in Friday in 2 weeks. Be like, okay, cool, I'll be there. That's how you gotta do it. All of this stuff is about getting in the room with people, because your best shot at getting major placements is being in the room with the people and having the relationship. Because a lot of times, yeah, like if you swindle your way into getting a placement, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to ask a lot of questions. Just find out. You're at the phase of like doing research. Like just figure out what they're doing. But also too, I wouldn't obsess too much about it, honestly.
I feel like at the end of the day, like the thing I did at the end of the day, it could come back around full circle.
This happens all the time. You think it's going to come out and then it never does, and then, you know, other times that you might get a placement and then like you don't get paid for 12 months. You guys should definitely get used to that. You're not going to get paid for a year. Certain records, it's true.
The majors, you know, like.
I love that question. So this answer is going to seem a little cocky, but I promise you I'm not cocky. I've never in my mind thought that I wasn't good enough. Once you do that enough times and you tell yourself that you're fire, you start to really believe it. And once you start to believe it, you become it. It just becomes reality. So yeah, I never had to deal with that because early on, that was just not even an option for me. Yeah.
Like YouTube or commercials or films, could you drop some knowledge on that?
Yeah, so the licensing thing on YouTube is a pretty cool thing you can try right now. So, and I know guys that are making 6 figures a year only doing YouTube licensing. So there's like thousands and thousands of YouTube influencers who have millions of subscribers. Whether it's, you know, smoky eye tutorial. And during these videos, guess what's playing in the background? Beats. And where do they get these beats? A lot of them get them from licensing companies, right? And they purchase in bulk. Go one by one and literally DM these people. I'm a music producer, I have a bunch of beats. I noticed that you really like 95 BPM, you know, mid-tempo, boom bap type stuff. All of my beats are non-sampled. I'd love to offer you a pack of 10 beats every week for $100. And you create some kind of agreement, and that's pretty cheap, but let's just use that example. So you create an agreement and then you're making $100 every week, and you do that with 10 people. That's $1,000 every week. Thank you so much, man. Thank you guys so much for hanging tonight. You guys are super amazing.